Hello everyone. So today we are going to play with glow in the dark to create an underwater Manny that I have also now made Harry Potter themed too. So it's either going to turn out to be the best and cool, or maybe it'll just be a disaster. I don't know. Because as you can see, oh, I'm already messing up my files. I have a lot of things layered so I can remember what I'm doing. So I am starting out here with the glow in the dark. This is Techno Glow, and it was from a sub box. That was probably a couple of years ago now. It was the one where they gave us the glitter lipstick. And what else was in that? It was kind of like concert, summer music fest themed. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, I believe it was 2 summers ago. In August, I think. No, maybe July. July or August. So, and I'm putting the glow in the dark down first, and then I have a bunch of overlays and sheer jelly, that kind of stuff. So it should all, the glow should show through. And it shouldn't really matter that this has that like classic green glow in the dark hue, which doesn't matter for underwater. A green like this totally goes, in my opinion. Anyway, so for Stacy's Sassy Crew, she has her bingo going right now, which is about to finish up, but one of the challenges was Underwater Wonder, and I saw the coolest Manny where they did glow as the first layer, and then they layered a few things. And they actually made theirs, it was kind of, it had like a seahorse, I don't remember, it was kind of underwater theme, but I thought that would be fun for Underwater Wonder. So I've had this planned for like at least a month. Planned it in July. I don't know, at least a month or more. And then in my stylist group, she puts little monthly challenges out. And this month, the challenge was to do a book cover. And I actually had a whole different one planned for that. But then we just got back from a family reunion where we stayed at a Harry Potter themed Airbnb. And I'm probably going to talk about that a lot this time. So I thought, why not make it Harry Potter themed? And then I went, well, let's make it the book cover one because obviously that's a book. Anyway, so I picked book 4 because I immediately thought of the Triwizard Tournament, the part where they are in the lake and he has to do a rescue. I haven't read the books for a long time, but that is immediately what I thought of. So I found a book cover that kind of a book cover version, because there's many versions of Harry Potter at this point, that totally goes with the theme of my underwater, and I kind of tweaked it a little bit to look more like the book cover. And there you go. That's my thought process for creating, knocking out many challenges with one Manny. So, because we're kind of, the end of the month's coming soon. So, this that I have here is Topsy-Turvy. This also, I believe, was a um, sub box set. I don't remember for sure which one it was, but it has worked well for so many different manis. I've actually really enjoyed it, and it totally looks like underwater, either plants or something, kind of floating up, bubbly, whatever. And I guess we'll just keep going with this pinky. This is Blueberry Blast that I'm now doing, which is a jelly. One of the original jellies when they first came out with them, I think. You can see it's got the look of like the jelly shoes, very sheer, very pretty. My daughter has some unicorn jellies, and she was telling me they hurt her feet, and I'm like, yes, those shoes are very cute. But I remember that as a kid. They're very cute, and then you wear them and your feet hurt. Anyway, so that glow should show right through this. I think I will, it's the middle of the afternoon, but I think I will do a second little follow-up video after I finish creating this in a closet somewhere in my house, somewhere where it's totally dark. Or somewhere where it's at least less dark, because if it's completely dark, it might be hard to see, but I'll try to do a video showing the glow so you can see how it comes through. That one didn't perforate super well off of the silver tab. It was still long enough, good. Let's do a sure. Move this one out. Alright. And then this is Blue Holiday. This is a glitter dip overlay with sparkly blue glitter, which totally looks like, maybe some underwater bubbles, something like that. So, and this is a great Manny because I'm using you'll see a lot of different overlays that kind of all, I just have a little tiny bit left, but they all work for underwater. And I was actually going to I have the dragon scale one sitting over here that came in the dragon sub box last fall, and then the one from the first sub box. I'll just show them. I decided not to use them though because there isn't any of this on the book cover. But Sacred Scales, I don't know, maybe I'll pull them out. But Sacred Scales, and then Roaring Good Time, which was from the very first sub box. This is also a clear overlay because they look like seashells. So when it was just Underwater Wonder, but I didn't see any of those on the book cover. So even though like Dragon Scales clearly go with Harry Potter too. So but that is okay. That means I'm gonna use up the overlays that I do have. I'm gonna totally use them up, and you'll see the way I use them is kind of weird, but it's like they're all the small bits, so they're kind of may not cover my whole nail, but I don't think it's gonna matter because we're covering it, right? You're not seeing any of the edges or lines, so this is a good use for the little tiny ones that are left, and they fit this theme so well. Okay, so that is the first nail. That looks totally fine on. I wasn't sure how it would pan out, and I didn't end up using the second strip of Blue Holiday, so we'll set that aside. And then now for this finger. So I discovered on, I think it was my last mani, yes, where I was doing the ombres. I did some sideways and I discovered that I can get both of my nails. We'll see if that holds true this time with one thumb strip. 'Cause when I was doing them the other way, you couldn't get a second nail out of them. So we're going to try that. See if it holds true. It is a little more work perforating, but see if we can get it good. Sit there. Yeah, I wanted to experiment with this a little more to see if it's something I like or not. It was something that I never would have thought to do except for flipping them on that mani. So that's why it's fun to do these different challenges that come out, try different things. You learn different stuff. And there is the risk that I just like perforate this terribly. And then that's sad days. See, it's kind of wanted to perforate early, I feel like. No, there we go. Turned out okay. Let's see. Zoom that up a little. And that didn't end up going quite to the end of my nail, and I could clip it. Maybe I will. I do have clippers right here before I layer everything on top, although I don't think it would really matter because it's going to be covered with many layers. We'll just clip it for the getting a weird shape. Now let's see if this other one works. On the other hand. Anyway, okay, so the family reunion, we went to southern Utah, and my husband is the oldest of 7 kids. And so we're a fairly large group. I am the oldest in my family, and my husband's the oldest in his family. So we're the first one. Well, there's 3 of his siblings that are married. Sorry, 2 of his siblings, 3 if you count him. And the first 2 have kids. The third sibling that's married does not have kids, and then after that, they're all single. So we're a big group just by nature of, the kids, our kids, and then the one sibling that does have kids. And then by nature that there's 7 of them. So, but they don't all have kids yet, and they're not all married. So we're not like ginormous. We're about 20 people, but still a big group. So we did this last summer too. Yeah, see, look at that. That covers my nail. Great. One of the siblings found an Airbnb also in southern Utah that had like a pool and just had king suites, 5 or 6 of them, so everyone could kind of have their own space and bathroom, and we just hung out and played in the pool. Well, this year, my sister-in-law who loves Harry Potter found a Harry Potter themed one, and the house was it was so cool. I like Harry Potter well enough. I'm not, a Potterhead by any means or crazy about it. I read the books. I was really into it as they came out as a kid because it was kind of, around 4th grade, I think the first book came out. Right, so this is Grow on You that I'm now adding. Anyway, so I kind of followed them. I remember waiting for the 4th book at the bookstore, the night that it came out. But then kind of by the 5th book, I kind of lost interest. I think that was kind of when things changed. I'm not as much into fantasy now as far as reading goes. So, but I did go back and read all the books, but I'm not like I remember kind of what the twists are, but I don't remember exactly what they are. So I need to go back and read the series probably again because it is a good series. Oh, we're doing, oh, okay. Yes, because I used the same one for that. So so I thought it would be fun to punch some little like sea stars. This is my very last strip of Lagoon too. So then I can finish off that entire set. So I have a star craft punch, and I'm just gonna punch a couple of them out, one for each hand. How cute would that be to use for something too? I'll have to do that in another mani. For the 4th of July, that'd be so fun. This one wants to stick. Let's see if we can get it out. There we go. We're just the other tricky part is getting it off the backing. This thumbnail is peeling. So that's what when I say peeling, that's what I'm referring to. You can see how that's kind of coming up. This one has been too. But the peeling has been getting better. I've been being more intentional about my nail routine and such. So I'm trying to, and then I'm kind of gradually testing different products to see what works best for me, but I'm going slow. So we're just gonna add a little starfish, sea star, whatever. And my intent is that since it's darker, it'll show through both glowing and not. We'll see. I'm a very like do it as I see it. So painting I like because you can kind of like fudge it around while it's still wet, but color street you're kind of like a lot of times you can't change it once you stick it. So and I don't visualize it as well in my mind as if I was painting where you can kind of like change things a little more as you're going. Oh, I'm not ready to stick that on, so let's save that. Sure, we've got the shiny side there. Okay, yeah, we need another grow on you. Yeah, we'll do this one. It's gonna be skinny, but it's gonna be okay. We could still both strips if we wanted to cover the whole. Let's just see how it goes. Need it to cover the whole nail, or I don't think we do. I think it's gonna matter too much. Anyway, so Harry Potter is cool. It's fine. It's not like, but she loves Harry Potter, and this house was just, it was really cool. It was very classy. Like it was done, it wasn't like tacky, cheap decorations. Like it was done super well and very thoughtfully planned out. See if I can make sure I'm doing the same order, because that'd be awkward. And I loved that as you were a couple days into the state, like you were noticing more little details that they added on the house, little, fun little things. So for instance, they had a library with a lot of books, and I thought it was really clever how they did it. Instead of having, like a bunch of novels, popular ones, they had a lot of old nonfiction, like vintage, antique. There we go, I'd call that. like antique. Oh yeah, look how that shows through on just different subjects, and I thought that was really brilliant because mostly you're not gonna have time to sit down and read a whole novel while you're staying there, but you would definitely have time to, find whatever. I feel like there was lots of different topics there, so you would find something that you're, like, interested in and kinda peruse through it. So my father-in-law, he's worked in, like, engineering, and he's very mechanically minded, and he found a book about electronics from, I think it was originally published in the 50s, but maybe this one was copyright 70s, like it'd been updated. I don't know. It was an older one. He found that very fascinating. He kind of flipped through it. But anyway, a couple of days into the stay, I was sitting there playing a game, Harry Potter Monopoly. My in-laws brought tons of Harry Potter themed games. Everything was Harry Potter themed, but we were sitting there playing, and I looked up and saw there was a little section of the bookshelf clear up pretty high, but it had little chains across it and a sign that said restricted section, which is just it was so cute because that's a big part of the book. So there's in their library, there's a restricted section where they can kind of find out some of the, it's kind of a key part of the books. So I should have got that over a little further because there's some gap there. Actually, we could add. Anyway, so that was cute. And then on the very last day, as I was doing my final pass through to make sure we hadn't forgotten anything, they have a theater downstairs that they have painted with the Green Gots goblins going down either side of the theater, like the walls, so you see them. Anyway, so their lanterns, I realized when I turned off the light, were done with glow in the dark paint. And so when you turn off the light, their lanterns were still glowing. And just little things like that, like just really fun, thoughtful things to discover. And I know there was plenty, like I said, I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan, so I know there was plenty that I did not even notice. So, okay, these are the blue holiday. Are these smaller than I was thinking they were because they're the glitter overlay, but they may not be where they're on the ends. Oh, they're totally not. They're the same size. Because if it's a glitter dip, like we're not using one right now. This is a reverse glitter dip. But if it's a glitter dip where it's in the middle, they made them shorter. So if you have shorter nails, you still get plenty of glitter. Um, but these ones, I guess, since it's at the end, they actually didn't do that. So I could probably get one. We're just gonna do it the same way though, because I want my bubbles to be the same way on all of them. But that's interesting. I never realized that before. Anyway, so the basement is where most of the bedrooms were. There were four main bedrooms, so of course those were themed after the four Harry Potter houses. And we stayed in Hufflepuff, and it was just really cute. They went all out on kind of the plant theme. And so we had a four-poster bed that had like plant vines on it, and it was just really cute. And then the Gryffindor room had a door that you had to push a button to get through, and the door was the fat lady painting. Because if you've read the books, they have to give the password to the painting of the fat lady to get through. And then on the inside, there was a code to get out. So if the door got shut, they had to do a code. But they had a door to the outside. So I think that's how it wasn't a fire hazard. That's going to be too short. So this one. And one of the days the kids were all in there watching TV, I came downstairs and the kids, came around and they're like, one of the 2-year-olds, one of the cousins had, oh yeah, we're doing this here, had shut the door on them. And so they had to get creative how to get out. So they went out the outside door and came around and they told me about it. Anyway, so the four houses were themed. I don't know too much about the Slytherin and Ravenclaw rooms because I wasn't really in there. And then there was that theater room down there. And just gorgeous. Like I didn't realize until towards the end that those were like hand painted murals. So they had painted, I think it was 8 goblins down the side of the theater room, and then there was a dragon painted in the back. Just these hand painted gorgeous murals. And that theater room, we spent a lot of time in there because they had 3 rows of just really comfy reclining couches. And then, is this gonna work? We're gonna go with it. So just super comfy, and then I loved they had a table, like a skinny long table set up at the very back of the theater room, and I sat back there and worked on cards and crafts and stuff. And of course, it was pretty much Harry Potter movies. That's what people put on, which was fine. I just watched them. We did watch K-pop Demon Hunters, which I don't know if that's a big deal everywhere, but it's a big deal with all my coworkers, and I'm sure it is popular everywhere. I really liked it. It's got catchy music and something that the kids can watch too, and I can enjoy. That's a win. So we really liked that one. But other than that, it was Fantastic Beasts and Harry Potter for the most part. A few other things, but mainly that. And then there was a gym down there. We didn't spend very much time in there. And then there was a bunk room for the kids, and it was train themed, and so their bunks had, like, little curtains on them. The kids loved it in there. And then to get into the bedroom, the door was in a brick wall, like, camouflaged, and so it was like you were going through the wall at platform and 9 and 3/4. And then the bathroom to that bedroom was themed like Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. They had the sinks kind of in a round shape with mirrors kind of around it, and then behind that, they had a I don't think that was a hand-painted mural, I think it was something that was put on the wall, but a Moaning Myrtle. It was kinda like it almost had like a stained glass kind of vibe, like the way it was done looked kind of like that. Anyway, so you would see that in the mirror, so it was like you were seeing Moaning Myrtle. And so that was something, that I kinda noticed a little bit into it. Like, "Oh, that's clever that you see her in the mirror," because I think that's how she appears in the books and movies is in the mirror, if I remember right. So, anyway, so that was kind of the downstairs, and then the main floor had that library room, had a kitchen area that was themed like the Great Hall. They had, long wooden tables that looked like the Great Hall tables. I'm not perforating that exactly, but it's a little bit jagged, I guess I'd say, but it'll cover up. And then like a comfy family room. There was a master bedroom there, which a bunch of the in-laws stayed in. And then the garage, and it was like a double deep, triple deep garage. I don't know. Okay, wait, I should make sure I have enough of whatever overlay I do it on this finger. Let's see. What do I want to do here? Probably do the flowers. Anyway, and they had put a pickleball court and then like a half court basketball. And so it was my first time playing pickleball. And pickleball's a lot of fun. It took me a bit to kinda get into it. I am terrible, but I think that's what makes it so fun. You don't really have to be an expert or anything to kinda get in on it and have fun, so that was some good times testing that out. And then upstairs, above the library room, so there was, like, a loft. So, let's just do a fresh one. There was a loft area with I think it was a trundle bed and a bathroom, and that was set up to be Dumbledore's office because there was a desk. And then they had I don't remember what it's called, but that, like, fountain pool thing. Like I said, I've read the first books more than once, but I think the final 5, 6, 7, 8. How many I don't even remember how many books are anyway, those ones I think I've only read once, but like, bowl that they look in, and I can't remember what it is they see in it, but it's a big part of the book. They had one of those there. And then there was a net that went out over the library area, and so the kids could kinda hang out and play on that, and it was kinda fun because you could see them from down below. And then from that room, there was a playroom that you had to kind of go up a ladder and then down another ladder, so you had to go down into it, and it was themed Dumbledore's Academy. They had a playroom with Harry Potter dress-ups, and there was a mural in there of 2 wizards fighting with wands and just, kind of a little play area, rock climbing wall. Very cute. I don't think the kids spent too terribly much time in there. Maybe though. And then from there, another spiral staircase. It was a spiral staircase up to that first loft, and then a spiral staircase up to a like a sunroom area that was the astronomy tower, I think is what it's called in Harry Potter. So there was a couple of porch swing-esque chairs to sit in, a telescope, a big chart on the wall about constellations, and just kind of a little space, like a little tower space up there. It's really cute. So anyway, the kids were they had lots to do. They kept busy. And then there were lots of little hidden things. I already mentioned the platform 9 3/4 wall into the bunker room, but there was also a hidden slide from the main foyer was hidden behind a suit of armor there that you kind of slid back, and there was a slide that went down to a little cupboard under the stairs space down in the basement. So the kids had a blast on that slide. And then tons of stuff to do outside too. There was a hot tub and then a giant chess set, and then you went down further in the yard and they had a trampoline and a little play structure. So yeah, a lot of times I was like, I don't even know where my kids are at. Like I know they're here, but they were just off having fun, and it was kind of cute. There's kind of some gnarly bush type trees that are very common in that part of southern Utah, and they kept one of them in the middle of the lawn. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be the Whomping Willow. It was super cute. Yeah, so that was kind of the house. I'm trying to think if there are any other lots of fun stuff to look at everywhere, just little fun things, and a lot of them probably didn't register on me, but very cute. So I think the only time I left the house was to do family pictures, which we survived. It wasn't too bad. Sometimes I like pictures, but lately, more often than not, it's just like, oh, I gotta do that. Probably just with kids, it's like it's stressful. But my kids did good, and we'll get the pictures back in like a month. I'm excited to see how they turn out. And then some of the family went out shooting. I did not, just stayed back. I tried to stay at the house as much as possible because, I mean, you're paying for this really nice, fun place to stay. I figure may as well enjoy it. Okay, I wish I had more. It's not quite wide enough. I think that's, oh, look, I have some extra little bit right here that we'll use to fill in. And it's fun with a big group like this because when you split the cost, it ends up being affordable to go stay in somewhere just really cool. I mostly just hung out at the house. We ate lots of good food. We kind of took turns doing meals. Super good food. Played lots of games. I tried a new one called Shards of Infinity, and it took me a bit to get into it, but it was fun. Okay, now we're on to the next finger glow. So I always start with the pinky. I think most of you that have done Color Street very long now. I think I'll definitely do heat on these. You start with your pinky because then you can still use your thumb and pointer as tools as you go. And when I say do heat, I have a flax bag that you heat up in the microwave. It's kind of like one of those rice bags, but with flax that you can heat up for sore muscles or whatnot. But this one's, because it's flax, works super well for nails because it's got flax is small, and so you can kind of use it to really smooth things out. So that's what I mean by that. Yeah, lots of games. We did a card making craft. What else did we do? And honestly, traveling with kids most of the time was spent, you know, doing stuff with them, like taking care. Like my kids are entertained, but you still gotta, make sure they're fed and make sure, their needs are taken care of. And then I have a 1.5-year-old, so there was a lot of the house was pretty safe, but, it's not your home where you know exactly what he's gonna encounter or what he's going to do when he encounters different things in the home. And so he kinda required a little more watching while he was awake. And then, oh man, coming back, the kids they couldn't listen. The drive back, it's about 4 hours away, I wanna say. Drive back was rough. And then when we got back, we made him go downstairs. 'Cause I was like, "Just you can help us unload the car or go downstairs and play." And pretty soon it was just quiet, and when I came down here to check, they had all fallen asleep, so they were just very tired from having lots of fun. So good for them to have that time with their cousins. They had a lot of fun. Okay, and then let's see, what are we doing? This is time consuming to do this many layers. Okay, so the book cover I chose, there's a lot of different book covers, but this one it's got, it's very focused on the sea for the underwater theme. Gonna have to stick over here probably. We're just doing it kind of like a decal. We don't need a ton. Yeah, look at that. Works great. Okay, that's Blue Lagoon. Did I say all the different strips I was using? I think so. I think I did. I hope I did. Yeah, I did. Make sure we cover up the glow. This is almost like I picked a smaller strip of this blueberry blast because it's one to stick out. Anyway, so we are at the end of our summer. It starts school this week. I'm excited about. I'm not excited about having to set an alarm to be able to get them there, but I'm excited. And they're really excited too. I think they've got some good teachers, so hopefully it'll be a good year. Okay, at our blue holiday. I'm getting excited for fall. It's it's getting real. I'm excited to see what manis I plan for fall. The fall collection's gorgeous, the Hollywood themed one, and I'm excited to see what Halloween ends up being. That's not here for a few more weeks, but and I am just waiting to buy because Stacy's got her party coming up, so I'm just holding out to buy stuff because I want to wait for her party link. Okay, last nail. We almost made it. Let's see, I do want to cut that a little flatter because my nail beds are a little more square, my thumbnails. Cut that. It was nice we got back. The trip was kind of like a weird, it was we checked in Saturday and checked out Wednesday, so it's kind of a weird time, but that was probably just what was available, and we booked it like a year ago. I'm sure this house books way out. I'm sure it's booked every single night because it's super cool. But for some reason, my husband thought it was the whole week, so he had planned to take Thursday off, and then Friday, he's off every other Friday. Anyway, just his normal schedule. That was super nice. So many things that he was able to get done. And it worked out because I ended up working Thursday, and my sister let me know that one of her kids looks like he has hand, foot, and mouth. So it'd be good if we can. So because my husband was home, we were able to just have him keep the kids instead of going over there because she was still willing to watch. And she's like, I will try to keep them apart, but we all know that's kind of a fool's errand with kids. So it's been super nice. And he's been able to get to a lot of things that he's not been able to for a while. Very productive weekend. It's crazy how even when you're gone, your chores and stuff still just pile up. So rude. So you have this nice time away, but then you like, pay for it. Being an adult sometimes. My youngest sister has not a sister with kids, but my youngest one, she kind of lives like a nomadic lifestyle. She has a nice setup in her car and just kind of floats around, and I'm like, that's kind of nice. 'Cause there's so much work and stuff that just so many things that come with the house. Oh, that's one of the big things we got done. Our car has been, well, it was due for oil change, tire rotation. And then we've also been noticing like kind of a washboard, not waterboarding, washboard filling. And so we were able to get that looked. The alignment was wonky on it. So we were able to get that all taken care of. My husband was able to get it taken care of while I was working and stuff. That's kind of short. Do I have any? I have flowers left. That's fine. And the place we go is walking distance, which is super amazing. So you don't have to have someone pick you up and drop you off. Which the way we do our cars, I know a lot of people do. Each adult has their own car, but we have a minivan, and whoever has the kids has the minivan. And then we have a little commuter car that I bought when I was 19, a little hatchback. And that's when you don't have the kids, that's your car. So we kind of swap. But then we're not having to have two sets of car seats, and we're not, man, I didn't quite center that. We don't have to move the car seats, and I can't remember what else I was gonna say with that, but that's the main thing. Or have two sets, that's what it was. But anyway, so I was off in the commuter car, and he dropped the car off before I went to work, I think is what it was. He dropped off in the evening, I think the day we got back. And then they ended up they thought they needed a different part than they actually did, so they needed it an extra day, but the part they actually needed was way cheaper, like $500 cheaper. So we didn't feel too sad about that. So he just rolled without a car. It was back to school night, day, whatever, the day that I worked, and one of my kids' teachers had to move it earlier to the afternoon. And so he took that kid and was just able to walk because our school's walking distance. And then I took the other kid in the evening at the normal back to school time. I love being able to walk places. That's one thing, like this Harry Potter house, I'm like, it'd be cool to live in a fancy place like this, but you wouldn't be walking anywhere because it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere and up a hill. And so I just really enjoy that. Anyway, and then we got our car back in time on Friday to go hit the amusement park, which, man, I have enjoyed our season passes this year. It's been a lot of fun. We went last week. This was before we went on our trip, just a couple of days before we did. We went to Laguna. We had it planned to go with. We have some friends, some good friends that we've been friends with since we were kids. Anyway, and they have kids similar age now to us. And we had planned to go to Lagoon with them. They were just doing a 1 day. That's the amusement park, Lagoon. Just doing a 1 day at Lagoon. And so we had planned to go that day with them. The week before, we had planned to go with my cousins who have season passes, who live different places throughout the state. They're, for the most part, not as close as we are. Anyway, they ended up having to postpone, so it ended they came the same day as our friends, and we kind of all met up, but we were a group of it was a big group. It was how many? It was 5 moms, 2 dads, 3 strollers, a wagon, I don't know, and, like, 12 kids, and so at first it was rough, and then we kind of broke off, different people wanted to do different things. But it was fun, it was good to see everyone, and then all the cousins and my sister who had come, they left for the afternoon. Me and my kids ended up staying the whole day with my friends who just did the single day, because they stayed the whole day because they don't have passes, they're just doing the 1 day. And so then we were able to kind of move a little quicker-ish. I mean, there's only so much you can do with kids, but anyway, and then my husband joined for the evening, and it was super fun. And I do have a funny story. So my son was waiting for one of the kiddie rides, and he's standing next to another kid that looked just like my friend's kid, and I even thought it was my friend's kid, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, he's, there with Ryan," and they're like, "Oh, that's not Ryan." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then we watched them get on the ride. My son thought it was Ryan too, even though he was standing right next to him. He's like, "Come on, Ryan, let's go get in one of the boats." And the kid was like, was kind of like, I don't know you. It was pretty good. It was a good day. We did whole day at the amusement park. It was amazing. Just had my stroller, and the amusement park here's I love it. They do some things to make it family friendly. Like you can take in any food you want. So I took in food, and my sister took in food for lunch, and then my husband brought in Little Caesars pizza for dinner. Like, literally, you can just walk in with your drink in your hand, your pizzas, whatever, just walk right in with them, it's all allowed, and it's amazing, and then they have, like, picnic areas in the back. Okay, those are pretty fun. I've been wanting to do so I noticed this about myself, that I'm attracted to blue nails, or blue, but then I don't wear them that often, and I've been kind of wanting to do some blue ones for a while, so I think this is fun. I think I'm gonna enjoy these, they're sparkly. I never know until I wear them for a little bit. I will pop back on in just a minute. I'm gonna go find a dark place so we can try and see if we can catch the glow and see how it comes through, but there it is without the glow for you. Alright, so here we are in my closet. It's pretty dark. The video is very grainy, but that gives you an idea. The star did kind of show through, and it's not very clear. I took a Nelfie in here and it came out. You could see more than you actually can with the naked eye, as far as like the little flowers, viney things that I did, the overlays. But that kind of gives you an idea. It's hard to capture glow, but they definitely glow very well in the dark, but it's hard with my eye to see those shapes, at least in the lighting that I've tried here. But anyway, so there they are. And yeah, I think this was a win. I think it turned out fun. And I think it looks good without the glow. Yeah, I think the layers look good. Anyway, so there you have it. Thanks for tuning in on this, and I'll catch you guys next time.